What's up, you filthy casuals? Welcome to the Casual Shenanigans Gaming podcast, a podcast all about everything PC gaming related. I'm one of your hosts this week, joining you on podcast 69. If there was ever a podcast I'm glad Joel isn't here for, it's this one. I am joined by co-host Dave, the not so evil, not evil at all, Evil Viking 13.
That is me, and I just heard your voice twice. I didn't have Twitch muted. I was like, which one's actually talking to me right now?
You've ruined the backup that we've never technically needed, but you've ruined it. And I'm also joined by James.
What's up?
Who we don't have a stupid nickname for yet. I was going to make some joke revolving like your voice, like your golden voice or something. I don't know. Yep, don't have anything good for it. Although, why'd you go back to your snowball?
Oh, I just haven't had a chance to mess with my SM58.
Okay, no problem. I was just curious.
You should be ashamed.
All right.
Always.
Lanky Soldier, you got a notification that the stream is for mature audiences. We mark everything as explicit in iTunes, and it's marked as mature on Twitch because there's no rating system. It's just totally clean or super filthy. And because depending on what guests we have on or what topics we're talking about, I don't feel like this is an E for everyone show all the time. I mean, most of the time it is, but because it isn't all the time, I'd rather just stray on the side of caution. And if you all are old enough to find your way over to Twitch all by yourselves, I don't know, you're probably old enough to watch it. That's up to your parents. I'm not here to be your mom.
There's actually a quick news story about that. Did you hear about the Roblox stream that ended up with a bunch of streamers getting fired?
No, fired from what?
From Roblox, actually. That's like the Minecraft-like game? Am I correct in...
I think so, yeah. I mean, I'm not super familiar with it, but that sounds right.
Yeah. It's like super kid-friendly, apparently. Well, a bunch of their employees were hosting like a stream with tons, like thousands of kids watching. And when the stream was over, they forgot to turn the stream off. And so for the next like 15 minutes, they all had this like super profane argument, like making fun of their own website and talking about how all these kids had like bought like a premium edition and stuff like that. And a bunch of them no longer work for Roblox. Apparently.
Oh, that sucks. Well, I mean, it sucks, but they were idiots, so.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's begin the podcast, as we always do, with the news. And, man, it's really a shame Joel isn't here this week, because we have 3 different sections of graphics card news. We're going to start out with the Alienware 13. Finally, a PC manufacturer was like, hey, let's not do incredibly stupid names for our
cool
products.
Name, actually.
Yeah, the 13. One guess how big the screen is?
12.9 inches.
Exactly.
There's your first upgrade.
What?
There's your first upgrade.
No, all right, so here's the deal. So it's just a normal like 13-inch laptop. It's honestly like not that cool on its own. It has a 1366 by 768 screen that can be upgraded to 2560 by 1440. It has a 1 terabyte mechanical hard drive, but you can upgrade it to an SSD. So, you know, it's not that cool of a laptop necessarily, except for an extra $300, you can use the new proprietary Alienware Graphics Amplifier, which is pretty much a tiny motherboard with a 460 watt power supply and a PCI Express slot that lets you drop in a graphics card up to 375 watts, and you use a proprietary connector to hook it up to the laptop, and the laptop takes over using your GPU. It also gives you 4 additional USB 3 ports. So the idea is you can travel with it and do light gaming and stuff, and when you're at home, this could be your main gaming computer by just dropping in, like, I don't know, have your GTX 780 or 970 in this case at home, and you just plug into it and you have all the graphics horsepower you need. And the reviews I've read of it, I've read 2 or 3 different reviews now, say, hey, this thing actually works. Like, it barely plays, say, Tomb Raider, because it has a dual-core 1.7 gigahertz i5.
Oh,
right.
No.
Well, because it's a gaming laptop that's $1,000, and
that's a good price.
And it's GTX 860M graphics. It's not a bad price, but they said they just dropped in a GTX 660, which is like not that amazing of a card, and they were able to play Tomb Raider at 2560 by 1440, no problems. So
that's a pretty cool setup.
It's a cool idea. Is it worth an extra $300 for the box? Like, if you're planning on keeping this laptop for the next 6 years and you want to be able to upgrade the graphics card to game on, like, it feels like there's a very specific subset of people who are gonna be like, wow, this is exactly what I'm looking for, and no one else is going to care. I mean,
I wonder if they can keep upgrading the laptop and you reuse the box.
Yeah, well, supposedly all their laptops from here on out, or most of their laptops from here on out, will support this box. Probably the Razer Blade, or not the Razer Blade, that's not made by Alienware. Like, if they made something like the Razer Blade, a super thin version of something, they probably wouldn't. But Alienware has always been about big chunky stuff. But they say this is like the direction they're going to be going from now on, unless this isn't successful, in which case I'm guessing this will be a failed experiment that 1,000 people will own.
So what caught my eye about this was when I bought my gaming laptop, which was like $3,000 in 2006, because it was actually more of a 3D workstation for my classwork. It had the same kind of feature attached to it, where it's like, this laptop will never be obsolete for graphics. It had this special like PCI Express slot where you just slide out the, what was it? Oh my gosh, your keyboard is loud.
Sorry.
You slid out like the, it was a GTX 7800. Unfortunately, the last card before they all went to those unified shaders. I think one card was released after that laptop came out that I bought, and then it was never updated again. And it was like a $600 purchase to swap out the graphics cards. And no one wanted to buy your old one. Like, who's going to want to buy like an old mobile graphics card? So, long-term support, I'm wondering how long it'll last. I think Alienware has a better brand backing than my company, which went out of business 4 years later. But
yeah, I mean, it's Dell, so
yeah.
I like the idea of being able to, like, we're at the point with connectors now where our connecting cables can actually pass an insane amount of bandwidth through. And so if we're at the point where they can pass that much computing power, I think it'd be cool to have like an Ultrabook. And then what if you had this graphics amplifier that also had like a little CPU in it as well, and you could basically, at what point are you just like, is it the same computer, and at what point are you just beefing up?
Yeah.
Like, at what point do you just have a tiny desktop that you run through your laptop, and at what point are you still technically using the laptop? I don't know, but it seems like other things should be able to be done this way. Like, what if they had a performance amplifier in general that could have a better graphics card and could have like a real quad core or something?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Anyway.
Like a very big docking station.
Yeah, like a very, but then like if it's a big docking station with computing, with a CPU and GPU in it, at what point do you just build a second computer and get over the fact that you're...
Does it have the CPU in it?
No, it just has a GPU, but I'm saying like that's, you know, at what point is it a different computer that you're using? Probably just a GPU, you're fine, but I don't know. It's weird. I think it's a cool idea. I doubt it's really going to go anywhere, but part of me kind of wants it to. Just to see where the technology can go. Our next news item, we have 2 release dates for Battlefield Hardline and Star Wars Battlefront, which is not called Star Wars Battlefront 3. I guess they're kind of just relaunching it. Supposedly it's going to be more of a first-person shooter as well, but it is coming holiday 2015.
I'm super excited. I can't help myself.
And I'm less excited for Battlefield Hardline, which is coming March 17th, 2015. And there's a new normal Battlefield game coming 2016, most likely holiday 2016. So
They said 2017 is what I heard.
Oh, I heard 2016.
Huh. Either way, they're not going to push it hard, which is... I'm very happy about that.
We'll see.
That's 3 years between numbered releases, but I guess
not
Hardline
really. It's really only 2 years since Battlefield 4 released. Come on.
No, 2013.
Right, but when was the
2017.
game finished?
Right.
If the entire team's been pretty much working on it non-stop since it released, I don't think it really counts as like development was done in 2013 plus 1 year of additional development to fix the development we skipped the first time.
But we finished the game patch.
Right, so if it comes out in 2016, I'm saying it's actually 2 years in between versions in the real world.
They did actually say in their, I guess, quarterly report that they want to give the number of releases and additionally Battlefield Hardline room to breathe, which especially with the premium services, like with Battlefield 3, no one was like, man, I really want Battlefield 4. Like, I feel like these every 5-month DLC releases just can't keep me occupied. No one...
Well, the DLC for Battlefield 3 came too fast. I barely got familiar with one, and they're like, I guess the people who play 5 hours a night are pretty ready for new DLC every month. But, like, seriously, the last DLC for Battlefield 3, how much did you honestly play of those last couple? Like, not nearly as much as you... But not nearly as much as you did of the first couple. Like, think back to Karkin, Vanilla, and stuff. You play a lot more of those, and it tapers off as the game goes on just because they keep pumping them out, and there's now like 35 maps. It wasn't 35, but it was like 27?
28, 27, yeah.
28, yeah, I mean, it was
I think
too many maps.
Within 6 months of the last DLC coming out, though, I had definitely caught up with hours played, like across all of them.
Mm-hmm.
They were all great. I got way into what was the close quarters, right?
Oh, that was awesome. That was the best Call of
that.
Duty game I've played in years.
I really did not like it at first, but I got way more into close quarters like 6 months after it came out. I found some pistol-only servers. Those were a lot of fun.
Yeah, close quarters kind of turned into my go-to, like, quick pickup game of Battlefield because it mattered less if your entire team was idiots because there weren't vehicles for them to be pissing around in. Like, you know, there was only the objective and each other. There wasn't a whole sandbox of stupid ways to entertain yourself. So.
Yep. Yeah, I would really like if they stuck to that, gave the number series room to breathe, and let people just enjoy the hopefully good games that they're releasing versus quickly pumping them out as fast as possible. Mm-hmm. We'll see if it actually happens.
We'll see if it happens. I'm waiting for Hardline to be a semi-decent game before I get excited about the next Battlefield game, because after Battlefield 4, I'm sure not excited for Battlefield 5. I mean, ain't no pre-order coming from over here. Nope. Next news item. G-Skill has a new SSD that is pretty crazy. Speaking of pretty crazy, there was a PNY SSD on sale today, 480 gigs, $180. It's like, PNY is not the best brand, but that is tempting. But G-Skill has their Phoenix Blade series, which is a 480 gig PCI Express SSD. And it has read and write speeds of 2,000 megabytes a second. Yeah. Which is pretty insane. And it does it because it has 4 SSD controllers, which are all linked to their own flash module. So it's pretty much a 4 SSD RAID 0, which is pretty crazy. And it's $700, which isn't the best, especially considering a 500 gig Samsung Evo is $230 right now. But if you were using this, you can think of it this way. Think of it as 480 gigabytes of RAM, because that's how fast it is. It's like, I think actually it might be a little faster than RAM. I don't know. The stuff you could theoretically do with this SSD is pretty insane, but most people have absolutely no use for it. Like, Windows is not going to boot up that much faster if you can read at 2,000 megabytes a second. Like, that's just, we don't need the technology. Even if we have it, we don't need it for that. So I don't know what people are going to use it for. Someone will come up with something cool to use it for, I'm sure. But I am not enough of an enthusiast to need that or care. Yes, Dave, paid attention to chat over there, showing off your American flag. We all see what you're doing. So, do you have any thoughts about that?
I like fast things, but I'm also really cheap. So
really? Because I've been talking about graphics cards with you for a while, and I don't know about that.
Hey, if I could upgrade and break even, I'm all right with that.
All right. Next bit of news.
Just once a year, I lose about like $100 in graphics cards upgrades just to have the newest.
Lose.
Absorb, enjoy, YOLO.
I mean, I understand. I've been considering, I talked about upgrading my R9 290 to a 970, but after the giant price drops of 290s and 290Xs, that is no longer as good of a trade as I thought it was going to be, because the prices of those things have plummeted. I'll actually go ahead and do the 5th news item now. The R9 290X has gotten another price drop to $300. And that's with the AMD Gold games attached. So you're getting 3 free games and an R9 290X for $300, which is a really awesome deal now. AMD is just trying to keep the fires going until they can get their 300 series out. But that's really, really good. And then, talking about high-end graphics cards, the TitanZ. Everyone remember the TitanZ? It was
unfortunately
the dual GPU version of the Titan with 12 gigabytes of graphics memory. Starting price $3,000, and then AMD released the 295X2 for $1,500, which performed exactly the same. NVIDIA pulled the TitanZ off the market, brought it back to the market a month or two later. They didn't really sell any of them. They pretty quickly dropped the price to $1,500. And today, I found on Main Gear's site, you can get their X-Cube gaming desktop, which has a Pentium Anniversary Edition G325B overclocked to 4.4 gigahertz, so it's a sucktastic processor.
What on earth?
It is overclocked. 8 gigs of RAM, a 600 watt Corsair power supply, 500 gigabyte Seagate Barracuda hard drive. Pretty basic bottom of the barrel gaming PC specs, but it comes with a TitanZ, all for the low price of $1,500. So you're basically buying a TitanZ and getting a bare bones PC thrown in with it.
They just use it to protect their graphics card as they ship it to you. It's the whole purpose of all those crap parts.
More or less. If you just added $191 to upgrade to the Core i5 4590, or you just bought your own 3570, or no, which socket is it? Yeah, if you bought your own 4690K or 4670K for $200 and something dollars, you could just pop it in, and this would actually be a pretty ridiculously awesome gaming box. Because the TitanZ, I mean, it's two Titans. Of course, you could just buy two GTX 780s for like $600 and build this for cheaper. But if you wanted to go the pre-built route, this is actually one of the best pre-builts I've seen in a while. If you can spend over $1,000 on it.
I wonder if you could effectively sell the stuff and just keep the card.
No, the TitanZ is not worth. The rest of the stuff's not worth much unless someone wants the Main Gear case. I mean, they do an awesome job with their cases and stuff, but no, it's not worth it.
But if you take it apart, then
it's worth
less.
less.
All the cable management. And
Exactly. Yeah. If you mess with anything, it's not as pretty anymore, and it's certainly.
You throw your old card in there and sell it for like $500-600.
Yeah, but you're paying $500-600 to get it. Well, because the TitanZ, let's see what the TitanZ goes for on eBay. I guess if it goes for $1,500, then yeah, you can do that. I'm gonna go out on a limb and guess it doesn't. If there's any of them for sale, let's see. TitanZ. It does not know what that is. Titan Space Z. That was my fault.
quotation marks, maybe?
Nah. Buy it now, $1,350. Holy crap! One of these went for $350. That has to be.
They have it listed on Tiger Direct for like $3,000.
Yeah, well, that's Tiger Direct.
Yeah, I actually am going to talk about them here in a minute.
Oh, really?
Yep. The next news item's all me.
All right, well, hold on. Before we move on to it, I just want to... I'm clicking through a couple different things. I want to get a little more up-to-date information. Okay, 1,100, 1,400, 1,300, $2,000, 1,900, 860. There's too much variance for me to roll the dice on that, but some of them are...
that's really risky.
But they're only selling, it looks about 2 a week are selling on eBay. That's how few of them are out there. So
the cheapest ones on Amazon are like $1,500.
yeah, I don't think it looks like it's worth flipping unless you got lucky. Like, you might get lucky and break ahead, but it's probably not worth all the hassle to make a couple $100. But all right, next news item is all Dave. Dave.
All me.
All you.
Well, I mean, I can start talking about the news, but seeing I'm in charge of time codes, before I can, I've got to actually put my time
We're going to
down.
talk about really,
I'm
like,
ready.
You're that bitter about this?
I'm really bitter about time codes.
All right.
But I'm on the ball tonight. All right, GTX 970. We talked about these when they launched, right? Just a little bit.
Like 30 minutes of Dave rationalizing why he wants to own one? Yes.
No, that was last week.
Okay. Oh, so when they launched, we only talked about them briefly.
Launched, we talked about them just
Since
briefly.
then, we've talked about them extensively.
Yeah. I hadn't really dug into the reviews too much, but recently I've been looking at some of the prices of both the stock 970s and some of the factory overclock ones, because the interesting part about the 900 series, both the 970 and the 980, is they have a lot of overclocking headroom. And this one review of the EVGA For the Win, which is an awful name, FTW edition, let's just call it FTW, which comes factory overclocked. They pick a particular bin that just overclocks really, really well, has a slight factory power boost and custom like fan profile for the overclock. That card, reviewers that were actually going through and testing it then got another 5% overclock on top of the factory overclock. And in real world testing in games, it was coming within 1 and 2 frames per second of a GTX 980 for about $240 less.
Which does not mean the 970 is a great deal. It means the 980 is a bad deal. Just like the R9 290 came out at $400 when the 290X was $550, and the R9 290 is actually pretty much the same exact card and performed pretty much exactly the same. It was they came out with the high-end card. You get all the high-end market they're going to buy the high-end card no matter what. It doesn't matter. Like just like the people who buy the biggest like storage space in their iPhone, it doesn't matter if they need it. They want the best one. So they get that, and then they come out with this is basically just as good for way less money version.
Well, to be fair, though, not all 970s are going to overclock like this. This is a special bin that has been specifically selected because it overclocked well, and it is backed with a factory warranty for the overclock, if not the extra overclock on top. So that's a couple different layers of like rolling the die if you go for a stock card and try and do it yourself. That is a pretty significant price premium for this FTW 970. It's about a $60 price premium over the stock card, which in my opinion is, I mean, the performance is awesome, but that's a really hefty price jump. And talking about Tiger Direct, actually, I've been tracking 970s for about 2 weeks now, looking at a possibility of upgrading, and Tiger Direct especially has had really low stocks and also really high prices. This card was in stock at Newegg, who's also doing the same thing because of low stocks. This card was $20 over MSRP on Newegg, with you paying shipping too. It was an extra $6 for Egg Saver shipping on Newegg.
But blasphemy! You don't pay for shipping.
I know, right? What year is this? I think only Amazon is not really super gouging on prices, but that's, you know, a lot of Prime stuff going on there. And even then,
yeah, but as soon as they go out of stock with Amazon, you get third parties that jump in with their prices, and then just
that's the market. That's how it works.
All of the Amazon Prime 970s do look like they do have some of that demand rolled into their prices. They're still, even the stock cards are like $10, $20 over MSRP, and even those are shipping in estimated 2 to 6 weeks. But long story short, if you can find a good deal on a 970, they do appear to be great overclockers, and they have my attention. I've been going back and forth for a few weeks now. Unless I see a deal, I think I'm kind of waiting on the sidelines here. I'm not going to pay a giant price premium, but an impressive showing from NVIDIA for sure. And I wonder what, I almost call them ATI. Oh man, what AMD is going to pull out next.
Well, Dave, Dave. When something has your attention, it has all of our attention, because you haven't shut up for the last 2 weeks.
Now, Dave, what would it take for you to buy an AMD card?
What would it take?
Yeah, because they've come out with some crazy price to performance ratios in the past couple years, but you don't seem to budge from NVIDIA. And we know I'm a free agent. I'll go wherever it's cheap. I don't care. I've had more than anyone else of anything else. So Dave leaves the computer. I'm just narrating for the people watching at home. Dave is holding a box for an ATI Radeon 9600 SE.
Yeah, this was 2004, I think. Yeah, I mean, I used to be really big into ADI because, I mean, the price to performance ratio, like you said, it's insane. So let's put Shadowplay aside first, because for me that's a really big deal now.
Yeah, I use Shadowplay. It does have it now. They have that for AMD.
It does not work well. It's like Shadowplay.
Shadowplay doesn't work well.
Shadowplay has worked great for me this year.
Okay.
the first, it launched in what, late October, early November, because it was right when Battlefield 4 launched, is when Shadowplay first came out last year for NVIDIA, right around the end of October. First month and and a half was rough. Since December, basically, it's worked really, really well. Only some minor bugs here and there, and tons of new features added. AMD's is not reliable yet, and I depend on it so much for recording now. Putting that aside, I think it would take a performance overhead, like a significant performance overhead.
For the money, they do have significant performance overheads. They perform about the same for less money, but you want more performance for the same money or more performance for also less money?
I'm saying I don't mind paying for extra performance and for extra quality. Consistency. I consider my computer equal parts PC gaming station and workstation, and a lot of my software works really, really well with NVIDIA cards. All of my Autodesk stuff in 3ds Max.
None of that supports OpenGL or OpenCL?
No, it does. It does, but NVIDIA cards has special drivers in a lot of cases for the software, and it all just works. So.
Oh, don't you pull the "it all just works" argument? Don't do that.
You claim that the drivers work really well, and your computer does seem to work great. I've seen your computer now.
I have no artifacting.
That's true.
To twist that little knife in there. My computer doesn't lock up all the time.
It doesn't lock up. It just requires a restart.
You have to restart it or you can't do anything.
So, I mean, does everybody get artifacting in Firefox?
No, I just get Shockwave
Dave,
has crashed. Would you like to restart Shockwave? Yes, Firefox. I hate you.
9 gigs of RAM used. I still hear a lot of people complaining about AMD's drivers.
I think it's stupid fanboys on the internet, man. I've had 5 AMD cards in the past 4 years, and the only driver issues I had were with Crossfire, and it was the same issues you have with SLI.
So what happened the last time you tried to use that AMD recording software?
I didn't have all the key bindings set up. I just switched it on and hopped in game, and it was messing up. My mic settings were going all the way up. And your Astros have done the exact same thing before, so don't play better with me. Yes, they have. Of course they have. I didn't take the time to fully get the software set up. I just switched it on and hopped in game like, hey, let's just see how it works. And no, that was my fault. That was my fault because I didn't go do the homework ahead of time.
Finally, wrap up your question. I've been stuck on the Intel and NVIDIA combo for like 6 years now, I think. And it's just consistently worked so well over, like 7 different upgrade cycles, counting just graphics cards and stuff, that I don't have any motivation to look elsewhere.
Yeah, I understand that.
So,
also, a picture in the chat.
You're willing to sacrifice whatever it takes to stay with high-end graphics. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. Dave will do without food if that means he can have the latest AMD graphics.
I just don't know what I'm going to do if I don't have my 680s to heat me this winter.
All right. It is now time for the best part of the news, the Potato Patch, where we find out what's going on in the great old world of consoles.
I think we need to mention another one, too.
Another Potato Patch item?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
I'll mention it really quick.
All right, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Just the Xbox One dropping to $350.
Yeah, until Christmas. How much do you want to bet, James?
January.
How much do you want to bet it's going to become permanent?
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
I mean, they're probably just
they're going to get like all greedy when they start seeing real sales.
And they're going to. How often does a company bump the price back up though? That's like unheard of.
This sounds like something Nintendo would do somehow in their
well,
wisdom.
Nintendo runs into problems all the time, but yeah, it $350, which was tempting for like a quarter of a second because I've been really enjoying Forza 4, which Singularity 80 mailed to me. Thank you very much. I've been enjoying that on my Xbox 360. It's really fun playing a racing game. If you guys are into racing games, anyone who's listening, if you play it on a big screen, in my case, 100 inches, not to brag, but I am bragging. You go into the in-cockpit view at 100 inches. It's like life-size, and it is a lot of fun. So I've been enjoying that.
You should invest in a really good steering wheel.
I used to have one. I had a Logitech G27 with my PS3, and I'm tempted to get another one. I just don't have a good seat. Like last time I had to clamp it to a coffee table and sit on the floor and cram my legs underneath the car. It wasn't very comfortable.
Some kind of peasant.
Just go to the junkyard.
Dave, I know you don't understand, but it's actually hard for some people to sit on the floor with their legs under a coffee table. There wasn't enough room. So
monster joke here somewhere.
I was tempted. I was like, I could get an Xbox One. The Forza games are really fun. It could be really interesting. Then I was like, well, just out of curiosity, how much is a 30-foot HDMI cable? And so for $40, today I received in the mail a 30-foot HDMI cable, a wireless adapter so I can use my wireless Xbox 360 controller with my computer, and a wireless mouse and keyboard so I can control the computer from the living room. And I now have my master race gaming console, or my racing console set up.
HDMI cable?
30.
30 foot. That's freaking awesome.
They make longer.
Yeah, I've used 75-foot ones before, and by that point you need a booster.
On the bare end there.
Yeah,
50 is about
because Forza 4 it was fun, but it runs at I'm guessing a glorious 600p. So I'm looking forward to trying some Need for Speed Shift 2, Assetto Corsa, Project Cars, stuff like that. I'm going to be playing at 60 FPS, 1080p.
That's how you do it.
I'm gonna have
do you
to
just
send
like run it along the baseboard?
It's going to be, I'm going to set it up when I want to play. I'm just going to uncoil the cable, bring it out in the living room, plug it in, and then I'll just tuck it back up.
Do you like the Burnout series?
Yes. I've played, I think, pretty much all of them.
I like it.
They went downhill after Burnout 3, in my opinion. But, yeah, so I'm looking for it.
I'm so proud of you, Jeremiah.
I'll report back with info. Dave, I might send you a picture or two of Ethan Carter at 100 inches, 1080p.
Yes. That's fantastic.
Yeah, so I'm actually looking
at I'm actually looking at upgrading my my in-wall Ethernet HDMI because I'm having a little bit of a bandwidth problem with newer games at full HD.
It's not gigabit?
No, it's actually dual gigabit. It goes from HDMI to dual gigabit, and the problem is
what's the problem?
Yeah, it's not that far.
It's well, it's like 100 feet or so. It goes up through the attic.
That's not that far.
But dual gigabit.
But the problem is actually, and I researched this, looking at the one that I purchased, the little converter in the wall, mine is not powered. It's just the power in the HDMI. There's a new version now that has just like an extra power lead. It like boosts it.
Yeah. That's definitely worth it then.
Because what I'm getting is on like certain games at full HD and like more than 30 FPS, like if I VSync it from 24 to 60, I'll get rapid flickering. It's just a power issue is all it is for the length of the cable. So I'm really proud of you, and now I feel like I have to upgrade mine to get back to my full experience for playing my computer on the couch.
Yeah, but I mean, it's full experience at what, 40 inches, 42 inches? I mean...
40s, 46.
46, whatever. Dude, it's so crazy. I got my first 50-inch TV in college. Like, I had a 32-inch, which when I got it, I was like, this is amazing. Because, like, here's how my gaming console experience went. 9 inches, black and white in color. Like, it faded from black and white to color. I got it from a yard sale because it didn't sell, and they gave it to me when the yard sale ended. That was 9 inches. Went up to 13 inches, full color all the time. Big upgrade.
Consistent color.
And then I got a 32-inch TV when I graduated high school as a present. I got that in my PS3. So that was like, this is the future, full HD, 720p. And a PlayStation 3, life doesn't get better. And then within a year, I'd sold it to get a 1080p or 1080i 50-inch DLP TV. And when I first set that up in my living room at college, I was like, it just doesn't get better than this. Like, this is the biggest screen I've ever seen in my entire life. And this is crazy amazing. And people would come into like the apartment and be like, whoa, dude, how big is that TV? And now, like, everyone has a 50-inch TV, it feels like. Like, that's like, when you walk into Costco, the starting size is 55 inches, and it just goes up from there.
It's like $449 for a 50-inch TV, like a brand new, like, LED backlit. But just so you guys can understand, Jeremiah doesn't just turn on a TV or turn on a projector. He turns on the wall of his living room. Like, what did you put in? Batman, right? I
put in The Dark Knight, yeah. That's my go-to demo flick.
Yeah, he dims the lights, fires up the projector, and we're just all sitting there like...
It's like that scene in How I Met Your Mother where Barney goes to show, I think, Lily or Robin. She's like, where's the TV? He was like, the wall is the TV. And they never show it. He just turns on a light and like everyone's blinded. It's just this glaring light coming off the wall. You say it's that, amazing. But just to illustrate to everyone why things don't make you happy, I can look at it and be like, if we shot it on that wall over there, I bet I could get 130 inches. Like 100 inches, it's good, but like could be better. And then I have to slap myself and be like, what is your problem? You're a terrible person. People are starving. And I want an extra 30 inches on my...
They're not starving because you want a new TV, though. That's all that matters.
True. Yes, that's all that matters. Speaking of which, James, you coming up to watch Fast and the Furious?
It's a good possibility.
Sweet. I do a movie or TV show marathon for everyone who doesn't know, which is probably everyone else listening to this. We do one every year after Thanksgiving where like we've done all the Lord of the Rings extended edition Blu-rays in one day. We've done all the Batman movies. We've done all of Firefly and Serenity. So this year it's going to be all 6 Fast and the Furious movies, and I am totes excited.
All right.
So anyway, second item in the potato patch, Dave.
Who out there has heard of Dying Light? I know that people can't respond, but you guys have heard of Dying Light, right?
Yes, I've heard of Dying Light.
I hadn't even heard of this. They were apparently going to attempt to put that game on last-gen consoles. and they've actually been working on it for a while. And today they announced via the very serious communication method of Facebook, their official company Facebook, that they have canceled the last-gen console versions of Dying Light. Thank goodness. Only next-gen consoles and PC. I hope we see this more often. I mean, come on. It's 2014. We don't need any more Battlefield 4s where there's like a boat anchor of technology from 2006 holding stuff back.
Mm-hmm.
That just felt like an ultimate potato patch story. Like, last-gen console games canceled.
I don't feel like the Xbox held back the Xbox One or Xbox 360 as much as the Xbox 360 will hold back the Xbox One at this point.
What do you mean?
Well, just the amount. Number one, the amount of games that are like both platforms.
Mm-hmm. Well, they are right now because it's the first year or two of the console. Yeah, but I don't feel like
it was that bad when the 360 came out.
You feel like there are fewer games? Yeah, that's true. There weren't that many cross-platform PS2 and PS3 games, were there? Or Xbox and Xbox 360 games?
There were a few. I think there were a few more PS2 games.
A few, but like God of War 2 wasn't coming out on the PS3 and the PS2. Like there were all the big major titles weren't. I don't think it was just a couple sports games and stuff.
Nintendo's just like, screw you, we're switching consoles. We're not making any more games for that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I see what you're saying, and I was talking about this the other night. I think I was talking with Singularity. We were playing some Titanfall, and I think that he was saying like he wants there to be a console next gen jump that's not all about graphics, and I think this is going to be the one because graphics are pretty good now.
Because they can't do the graphics.
No.
Graphics don't have anything left.
Graphics are overall pretty good on every platform now. Like compare it to anything 10 years ago. Graphics are great.
They're acceptable.
Dave, we'll get to this later. Graphics are look at anything from 10 years ago. Graphics are pretty great these days.
They are.
And so I think now it's the contest of services, like who can have the better games platform, better online platform, better features, better ways of connecting you with other people, and better ways of getting games for you to play. That's what matters more, and that's evident because both consoles I don't believe are being sold at a loss. Maybe the Xbox One is at $350, but like when the PS3 came out, Sony was losing hundreds of dollars on every PS3 because they had packed so much horsepower into it, and they were hoping to make it up on games, and of course a lot of things didn't work out well for them with that. They lost money for years, but both the Xbox One and the PS4 are relatively underpowered at launch compared to previous consoles. So I'm guessing they're seeing this as like graphics aren't going to matter as much this generation. It's all about features, which I think, Dave, we'll do the DayZ with DayZ segment after this. I feel like this is a perfect segue into the Singularity Shame segment. Now, disclaimer going in, Dave, I respect you as a person, and I respect your opinion. I personally disagree that this should be in the Singularity Shame segment, so we are going to debate this just a little bit. But I actually
kind of see where you're coming from.
Well, we're gonna still debate it. I want you to present your side, and everyone needs to understand that Dave is not like, he's not intolerable about this, but Dave has a fairly strong opinion. As you know, Dave likes strong graphics. As a 3D artist, as someone who likes making things for video games, Dave values quality.
I believe in the Ubisoft theory of quality pixels. Games need better quality pixels.
All right, Dave, take us through the Singularity Shame segment. What do we got?
Can I read it off of my version of the article? There's a couple different ones floating
go
around.
Ahead.
Mine has some more interesting quotes.
Yeah.
I'll just read this quote right here from TotalXbox.com, one of my favorite websites.
Is it now?
Resolution doesn't sell games, says Far Cry 4 dev. 1080p debate is a weird echo chamber, quote unquote. Weird echo chamber. We should not be in a business that sells itself on the flavor of like gadgetry and technology. So he also says here at the beginning of the article, it's certainly not something that I care about in a game, referring to 1080p Full HD. This is after he confirmed a target resolution and frame rate of 1080p and 30 FPS for Xbox One and PS4 versions of Far Cry 4. Mm-hmm. He says, it's weird to me that people are cool about playing a sort of retro pixel game, and yet the resolution somehow matters. It's like, is it fun? Is it interesting? Is it new? Is it fresh? Are there interesting questions? So
where's the shame in this? I'm sorry.
Well,
Wait.
Okay,
Can
yeah.
I start
Yeah,
off?
go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Because you're right. Like, it doesn't seem like it's completely off base. Like, yeah, he's got a good point. Your first question for a game should be, I think, is it fun? Is it interesting? Is it bringing something new to the table? Is it Battlefield 6 with nothing new and just new guns? But
They can't have new guns at this point. They've used all the guns.
I think for him to say that it's a weird echo chamber, and there's a second quote in here somewhere that I can't find where he said that no one cares about 1080p. I think people do. I think a lot of people do, and I think that it is, in Ubisoft's case, Ubisoft's fault, because they put a bar up there and said, guys, it's next-gen consoles. Assassin's Creed, Far Cry 4, full HD 60 FPS, we're going to do it. But then here we are months out from launch, and they can't do it. And now they're backpedaling, and they're saying, well, it's not an interesting question. It's not what's important. And I'm like, I can understand the gameplay and just overall a better visual quality is more important than straight frame rate and resolution. But accept your technical issues for what they are and don't try to act like it's not an issue when you were promoting these very technical figures a year ago.
I will hop on the same thing with you then. It feels like when the Xbox 360 and PS3 came out, I was like, guys, HD gaming is here. Ignore that it's been on the PC for years. HD gaming is here. Like, you can play your games in high definition. And then when this generation of consoles was being talked about, it was full HD is here. Like, yeah, you've mostly been playing like 600p, 720p upscale junk. Okay, now we're talking like full 1080p all the time. And then they're like, well, yeah, that turned out to not really be the case either. So I agree with the backpedaling, but where I differ from you is I think they should just stop talking about it. Like, if someone wants to peel apart the game files and pick through it, they're welcome to do it. But I do agree that the 1080p debate is a weird echo chamber. It's the fanboys. The fanboys for any particular topic will get in their own subreddit. It's usually subreddits are the worst for this because it's all people who are interested in this one topic, and they just complain nonstop about every little thing they don't like. I'll give you an example. I really enjoy this show, Sons of Anarchy. I think it's a really great show. It's currently in its final season. I have stayed away from the show's subreddit because of spoilers and whatever, and I went to it about 5 episodes into the 7th season, which is this current season, because I was like, I'm curious to see what have they been talking about the show? And apparently, the hive mind opinion on the show is that this last season is like the creator's a hack, the writing's terrible, the storylines are all falling off a cliff, like they're idiots. None of this is any good. And I was like, whoa, like this hasn't been the best season of the show, but it's wrapping up storylines. I'm enjoying it every week. Like, honestly, I thought it was pretty good, and now that I'm reading all of their explanations of why this sucks and this sucks and this sucks, I'm like, yeah, I mean, I see your point on a lot of this stuff, I guess, but I'm still enjoying it. Like, if I had never gone there, I would have just watched the show and enjoyed it and had a good time. But now I'm going to this place where everyone's telling me I'm supposed to hate it because like all the true fans are here and they hate it. And it's the same debate with consoles, where it's all like the hardcore fans are like 900p, screw you, 30 FPS, well, that's okay. But like, we want 1080p all the time, blah, 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 blah. And most people are just buying the games and playing them, and they don't care. Like, the 1080p debate, I agree, it doesn't really matter, because, I mean, what games sold the most? 2 games sold the most in the past 2 years, probably on consoles, or some of the most critically acclaimed games. The Last of Us and Grand Theft Auto 5, and I promise you neither of those games is running at 1080p. Like, I don't think either of them... Us,
as I call it, apocalyptic aliasing.
I don't even know if The Last of Us ran at 720p. It certainly didn't do it at 30 FPS. What?
I have a lot to say, but I'll be right back.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I want to hear James' opinion on this, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. But, like, The Last of Us was certainly not 1080p, and GTA 5 was like 720p and 20 FPS most of the time. And those games are amazing, and those games are a ton of fun. They're a ton of fun. So I don't agree with you on that this belongs in the shame segment, just because I think he's 100% right. I do think a little bit of shame should be tossed his way, so I guess he's not 100% right. A little shame should be tossed his way because he did talk about it and then say, you shouldn't be talking about this.
Yeah, what really bothers me is, to me, it feels really condescending for them to backpedal like this and just feed everybody just a bunch of BS about the technical issues and act like it's this superior position where it's like, guys, I care more about the experience than the graphics. And I'm like, you were talking about the experience last year. Right there in your bullet points, you were talking about next gen, full HD, 60 FPS. And like I said, I just find the backpedaling like they're just talking down to people, like they're trying to gloss over the issue now that they've made it an issue.
Right.
And that's for me where the shame comes from. And then additionally, and this is easy bait for the internet, a lot of the shame comes from the comments. The top comment on this article,
have to ignore. You can't. It's not fair to read the comments and judge anything in the article based on the comments.
Right, I'm not throwing the article directly into the shame bin because of the comments. I'm saying these comments belong directly in the shame bin no matter where the article ends up. First comment, which is now so heavily downvoted on this article, the only things I care about is it a good game to play, and I hope they have a steady frame rate. Reasonable, steady frame rate is important. I'll take 30 if it's V-synced. I sound like Joel, but it's true. And then he says, I'm a bit weird, but I prefer 30 FPS. It feels steady sometimes. 60 FPS can make your eyes feel like they are working slow and trying to catch up.
Most
definitely. The big eye smiley face.
Dave's just reading a random comment that was on.
Can that be the comment of the week right there, actually?
That can be the comment
of the week.
It's a typical internet comment.
Makes my eyes tired, guys.
I understand people preferring 30 over 60 in some cases.
Really?
Yeah, I mean...
I can't think of a game where 30 would... Like, a 30 is definitely better. I guess a more cinematic game, but the cinematic games I'm thinking of still have action, where I think 60 would be preferable. But that being said, I've never played, like, Uncharted at 60 FPS, so I guess I don't know. Maybe I would play it and go, oh, this isn't that great. But I feel like I would want a higher frame rate. What games do you think are better at 30 FPS?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay. I mean, anything that would use motion blur to look better, I guess, could look better at 30 FPS, but... yeah, it's something where I don't quite understand. So James, what else did you have to say about the 1080p? Like 1080p doesn't matter, or no one cares about 1080p was the title of the article and the quote from the Far Cry 4 developer. So what do you think about that?
I wouldn't say nobody cares about it because obviously people loved bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, it's mostly fanboys. I don't know if it's just subreddit because it's pretty much everywhere you look. I mean, you look on IGN, Joystick.
It's the same crowd, though. It's not.
Anytime you get someone commenting about the, PS4 wins. It's just like.
But that's still a tiny subset of the gaming population.
Right. I don't personally care. Like, it's not going to take away my experience if it's 900p.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not. I mean, I agree with the philosophy that they should be focusing on story, fun, gameplay. I mean. Again, people play these little blocky pixelated games and, can have a blast.
Mm-hmm. Okay, actually, I wanted to point out that quote, too, about the blocky games. Games like Minecraft, for example, choose a voxel-based graphic style as a choice. Or what is it? Fez has a pixel art style that's a choice. Whereas a lot of the games like Far Cry 4, they're going for a realistic visual style, at which point... seeing pixels is not going to make the game look more realistic. That was a random statement from the developer. I don't know what he was getting at there.
Well, in my issue,
you can have fun without it being.
That was his point. Was like, hey, I play games, and I think this is a good point. I play games because they're fun, not because of particular aspects of the graphics. I play them because they're a fun game to play, which I agree with. But here's another part for the shame segment. I guess it does belong in the singularity shame segment, but. It's coming from Ubisoft. This is the same game, let's keep in mind, that's selling its multiplayer mode as part of the Seasons Pass, so if the game is really all about the best player experience, I have a hard time taking them seriously on that, because they're certainly not demonstrating it with the way they are, having people pay for different things. I have a hard time taking Ubisoft seriously when they say that any one of their people says that graphics don't matter and fun games sell games, because they make super fun games, but they sure nickel and dime you to enjoy them. So I don't know.
But he didn't say graphics don't matter. I mean, that would be.
He said no one cares about 1080p. Is 1080p, what he said.
But
right.
I mean, again, the noticeability on a TV, especially between 900 and 1080p is.
Yeah, I want to do a test. If you guys would be up to it, I can't use YouTube because it'll compress it and that'll ruin it. But I want to record a couple games at 1080p and 900p, and then upscale 900p to 1080p, and then put them in the same video clip, do a real high quality render, and send it to you guys and see if you can tell which one's which. Now, it wouldn't be the exact same clip done in both 1080p and 900p, because then you could just A/B them back and forth until you found the right one. It's going to be similar sections of the game at different, because if the difference is that big, you should be able to see it regardless, right?
I think it's hard to tell with a recorded video though, because
I'll record lossless.
Okay, yeah, do 5 seconds even of lossless, because the important part for resolution is you've got to maintain the sharpness. Any kind of compression that softens edges is going to make it more difficult to tell.
Right. But yeah,
and I think James has a point too. From a TV, I bet it would be almost impossible to tell from 900 to 1080p. But from a computer screen, like I'm, maybe a foot and a half away from my screen, I think it would be a lot easier to tell from a computer screen.
I still think it would be. You would easily forget about it.
Keep in mind that I stare at pixels all day.
Me too, and I don't think I'd care.
I mean, seriously, you get
for pixel peeping. I think I win for pixel peeping because I edit photos for hours a day, and there's nothing like pixel peeping a 22 megapixel picture on a 2 megapixel screen to give you there's pictures I'm looking at this is unacceptably soft, and I have them hanging on my wall, 30-inch prints hanging on my wall. I'm like, yeah, actually that's totally 100% fine, and I'm being too picky.
But digital artwork is something different though, especially 3D artwork where there's contrast between shapes, which is where aliasing comes from. I think it's a lot easier to tell with
we'll see 3D art. Dave, you will sit there for an hour if you have to. I know you. You will figure out which one's which. I have the utmost confidence you will be 100% correct when you put in your votes. But I still want to do it because I'm betting you're going to admit that it's not that big of a deal.
Well, because Joel did the same thing. He did I think it was
screenshots.
3.
He did screenshots.
He did. It was was it BMP or was it ping?
They were PNGs, I think, but those were easy to tell. Problem with screenshot is you can just A/B them and you can see all the little details you miss in a moving image, like tiny differences in shadows and stuff. It's easy to point at them when you're in one place and be like, yeah, I can tell that shadow's not as smooth as that one. But when you're moving around and actually doing stuff, like James said, I think you're gonna forget pretty quickly, and you'll just enjoy the experience. Which is why if they have to bump it down to 900p, I honestly don't care. I honestly don't. Well, no one makes you bump anything down on the PC. I honestly don't care. I would rather have the high frame rate. The only times I'm really frustrated playing a game are unacceptably low frame rates. Like, it's hard to race through the city at 100 miles an hour in GTA 5 when the frame rate's chugging at 15 FPS. Or in ARMA, same thing. If you're driving an ARMA vehicle around,
flying a helicopter,
in the middle of a giant firefight and you have 4-mile visibility and your frame rate sitting at 18, it's kind of difficult to make quick judgment calls on things.
I didn't tell you guys last night, but when basically the entire squad was in the back of that Chinook early on in the mission and we were coming in for that landing, my frame rate froze for a good 1.25 seconds right before we landed, and when it came back, the whole chopper banded forward, and I was being very careful, don't do any kind of massive control change, just hold it steady. And when we snapped back, I was still coming in on the smooth motion for the landing. I'm like, oh man, that was close.
Jeremiah, I think what would be the most scientific for your experiment would not be have Dave compare to things he could analyze.
Mm-hmm.
But to sneak into his house and drop his resolution to 900p, and let him play like Tomb Raider and see.
What we do is
we
wake Dave up in the middle of the night. Dave, you wear glasses, right, or contacts?
No,
you don't. Okay. So
actually, I should probably go for an eye exam one of these days.
Right, but you. So I asked you. That was a trick. So you can just wake up and you should be able to see fine, right?
No, when I first wake up, I can't my eyes, especially in the fall with my allergies,
you should go see an eye doctor. If the answer to anything, can you see well, is no, then you should go see an eye doctor.
No, in the morning, I'm congested and my eyes are blurry from allergies.
We'll talk about this offline.
All right, we'll talk about this offline. All right, my idea is we break into Dave's house. We secure the guns ahead of time. We break into Dave's house in mass.
You never find them all.
Who's going to secure the one in his body?
You handcuff him. You handcuff him and have 2 big dudes hold him on either side, and then you put on 1080p and 900p footage on 2 identical monitors side by side, and he has 10 seconds to pick one, and his life's on the line. I bet you he wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
On the line?
Oh yeah,
it's escalated quickly.
Hey, the console wars don't take prisoners.
Oh no, not the fanboys.
No. On a lighter note, you could like do the same thing, like hold a bucket of water above your head, and you have like 5 seconds to pick which one's which. Like, I bet under pressure it'd be harder to do. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. But I don't play games under pressure. I sit down to enjoy them.
And you can't enjoy them unless it's full 1080p?
I'm not saying I couldn't. I'm saying I would notice. And
Okay.
if I had a choice between A and B, I would always choose the higher resolution, higher frame rate.
Of course, you'd always choose it, but I don't think you would necessarily immediately notice if you were into a game that it was dropped to 900.
Yeah, I think you would
not.
choose it, but I don't think, like, if it was the choice was taken away from you and you didn't know it, I don't think you'd know, which is the point with the console games. If you just release the game and people look at the box and it says 1080, even if it's upscaled, they're like, okay, 1080, pop it in, play it, who cares?
I think that maybe sometimes I would just roll with it, but I think there would still be a majority that where it would bother me. Mm-hmm. It may not be a large majority, but it would be a majority.
Yeah. All right. Now we're moving on to mail time. Does someone want to sing the song?
Dave.
Mail time.
Mail time! We have 2 bits of mail. You can always write into the show to be a part of it at casualshenanigans@gmail.com. First bit of mail came to my YouTube channel, and it says, "Hi, Aaron. This is the girl at the club. My page on the website I was telling you about is this. Has a link. Please send a message to me there. Thank you for your mail, concerned listener."
Legit.
Second bit of mail is from Traven Phallos is his screen name. I'm probably not saying that correctly. "Hey guys, obligatory cheesy email intro. Love the show. Thanks. Just wanted to send you guys some mail so maybe you don't argue on the air so much. Don't you dare take away arguing from us. We're going to argue whenever we want to, and you can go screw yourself if you don't like
there's a lot less yelling this week without Joel. Hi, Joel, in the chat.
So, all right. I've been wondering if you guys plan on expanding the Casual Shenanigans community to any other games, like other than ARMA or DayZ. I play DayZ, but not ARMA, and I play DayZ less as time goes on in between updates. You guys report a lot on different games, and I think it would be fun to have a community with the mindset that you guys have with PC gaming that was in a bunch of different games like MMOs and other genres. I wasn't able to participate in the Battle for Novo, but it sounded super sweet. That sort of stuff would be cool to do on a more regular basis. I am editing the grammar a little bit. No offense, Traven. Also, what plans are there for the podcast in general? Not that you guys aren't perfect, but it's always cool when you see a podcast grow, so what's in the works? Also, please put your email somewhere on your site, all caps. I had to re-listen to an episode to figure it out, and that's only true if this makes it to you. It did make it to us. Also, I must love that word or something. The word also, because he starts every paragraph with it. Joel should rent a seal at the Norman premiere that everyone can slap, sort of like a goodie bag.
It's like a good luck seal.
We're going to start with the last sentence. No, you can't rent animals to hit. I don't think you can rent seals. You can't rent animals. Well, you can rent like ponies to have kids.
You can rent animals.
James is like, I got a guy. You can rent animals.
We just hire a petting zoo and just pay him some extra to look the other way.
Are there petting zoos with seals?
How are we going to do a petting zoo of a seal in a movie theater?
Yeah, this seems like a bad idea. And animals are not goodie bags. What are you slapping until what comes out? Sadness and the rest of your soul?
No, it's like the locker room like spot on the wall that you hit before you go out for the big game. You pop the seal before you go.
Maybe if we had like a plaque of a seal that we could all hit on our way to the podcast or something, maybe. But I'm not on board with hitting live animals, and I'm sorry I made that joke. A plush. Okay, Debbie, you're in charge of getting a plush seal for the Norman premiere.
That would be awesome.
All right, so back to his actual questions. Oh, well, the second small thing. Put your email somewhere on your site. I was like, I read your email. I was like, duh, it's in the description for every podcast. And then I checked, and it's not in the description for the podcast. I accidentally got rid of that at some point in the past. So I will be adding that back in. I'm very sorry. So as always, it's casualshenanigans@gmail.com, and I'm sorry, I will add that back into the description. Now, back to your question, and you guys cut in at any point. Granted, you haven't got to read this email before now. So what are our plans for expanding the Casual Shenanigans community to any other games, and what are the plans for the podcast in general? I'll go first because I got to read the email ahead of you guys, but you guys cut in whenever you want. You kind of hit on it. You said the Casual Shenanigans community. That's kind of where I want it to grow is I want it to become a bigger community where people come together and play games and hang out and stuff. It's already come a long way from when we first started. Like, I didn't know James or Joel or like most of the other people we game with. I knew Dave and Chris, and I met everyone else through gaming. And some of them, like, they're really great friends of mine now, and we want that for anyone else who wants to participate. That's one of the reasons we got the Teamspeak channel as soon as Patreon was paying for it, was like, this is money you guys donate to make the podcast better, to make the community better, and we want it to go back into making the community better. And so we want the Teamspeak server to be somewhere where people can come and hang out and play whatever they want together, create your own sub channel to play games with your friends. Like, just if you want to hang out and meet up with people, that's fine. You know, it's totally up to you guys. And as far as expanding the podcast, we have, like, I've got lots of guests I have on a list I want to invite on the podcast. I've been a little lax about that for the past 2 months because it's been the middle of my busiest work season of the year. So
that we end up skipping every single topic every week.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. We like talking a lot about stuff, and that kind of hurts us a little bit. So we're gonna have to start reining in the news segments each week, I think. But there's lots of hosts I want to invite on. I just haven't had time to really talk to them and source people. So I've been in the middle of the wedding season, but now that that's winding down, I've got people I'm going to be contacting very shortly that we're interested in having on. And I mean, the podcast is still growing. It grows pretty much every single month. So thank you guys. Thank you for sharing it with people. Thank you to people who like listen to it on the YouTube channel, just stumble across it and then subscribe. Like, thank you guys a lot. And where I would like to see it go is I would love us to be playing other games. The only restrictions with playing other games as a group is it has to be a game that can handle a lot of people at the same time, which is something that DayZ can not currently do, because the game crashes like crazy. And it also has to have private servers or some way of joining anyone's server that you want to, so we can all play together. Like, if Grand Theft Auto 5 comes out and everyone can, like, if you can join private servers or something on Grand Theft Auto 5, that's the next game for us. Spoilers. But yeah, I mean, if you guys have suggestions on games you'd like the whole group to play, send them in. I mean, probably a lot of people own them if they're popular, and we could definitely do something. Pick DayZ and ARMA just because a lot of people have them, and ARMA especially lets you do whatever you want in it. We can build our own missions that let us do really anything. I mean, we could build a race car mission if we felt like it. So you can do whatever you want, and that makes it great for community events. But we always welcome suggestions. But yeah, I don't want the community to be something where, like, it's us sitting at the top, like, hey, we're the founders and, you know, we're the leaders. We are the de facto leaders, but I don't want it to be a us and you guys thing. I have the most fun when everyone's just hanging out and playing together and having a great time. So that's my opinion.
I agree.
I think we need to play more Payday.
We do. I wish Payday would, like, let you do team versus team. That would make that game so amazing. Which actually, maybe if Hardline's good, we'll see. But
let's get the retarded cousin battle.
Yeah, that's. Does anyone? Either of you guys have anything you want to contribute to that, or?
No, I think you summed it up.
Okay. Joel and I have talked about spinning off and just doing console podcasting from time to time.
The Potato Podcast. Make it.
Well, are you being serious, or are you just joking?
No,
Because you're smiling really big when you said it, so I didn't know if that was...
Because you're smiling. I smile because you smile.
Oh.
You bring warmth to my heart.
That's probably not true, but sure.
Fire in my belly.
Oh, my mouth. The fire should be lower than that.
I've got medicine for that.
Thanks.
Oh, yeah, Minecraft. Debbie brings up something good in chat. She mentioned TF2. But Minecraft, everyone ought to be joining the CSG Minecraft server. I say that now realizing it's hosted on Debbie's computer, so she doesn't want people to. She doesn't have to hand out the address. But
here's your IP address.
Yeah. But no, come join our Minecraft server and build stuff with us. That's another fun game that, like, if you don't own Minecraft at this point, I don't know what you've been doing with your life. So, sorry, James, back to you.
Productive things, probably.
You and Joel have been talking about, like, just doing a console side?
Yep. And also, on the side note, you know, we haven't done many casual conversations. But that's something that...
I'm putting out about one every week. I guess you haven't been on as many of them. Yeah.
Long side.
Well, no, a lot of them have been just like random things where a couple people are together. We haven't done many, like, everyone sit down, we're going to do a casual conversation. I would like to do more of those. I totally agree. But most of them have just been like clips from vacation, clips from like random conversations I've had with people, just interesting stuff that people would enjoy, or uninteresting stuff that's mostly just a bunch of drunk people sitting around laughing their butts off. Yeah.
Glad as it is, we may have to move main topics to those.
No. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. We've had main topics for like a month now that we haven't been able to get to because mail time and news keeps going for so long. Or not mail time, but the news.
If we stop fighting, like you said, maybe we'd actually...
We're not going to, James, though, and I don't want to. That's the thing. I don't want to stop fighting.
Well, I guess because Jeremiah spoke it, its existence.
But that's the way it works, James. Only one person has to want to fight for there to be a fight. It's not like everyone can just be like, hey, we're all going to get along. And one guy's like, screw y'all, 1080p or die. And that's all it takes. Yeah. Really, usually that person's Joel, who's like, honestly, I like Apple because it just works. And then it's like 30 minutes of screaming and punching and kicking over the internet. So, yeah, that's where we're at. I want to leave just a long enough pause that people look at their phone to see if it quit playing for some reason.
Everyone try to like freeze frame for a second.
Well, you know, you're talking now, so everyone knows it's happening. So you can't do that. Okay, is that long enough?
It wasn't bad. Wasn't bad.
All right. So as we wipe the podcast down more on Earth, that's not even close to what I was going to say.
Give it a good scrub. Oh, wow.
Wow.
Can you read the topic for 90 seconds with Joel?
No, I'm not going to read it. We're going to save that because
come on, just read it.
It's Joel's stream of consciousness typed with his cell phone. I don't want to spoil it for next time.
Please, Joel, in the chat, can you give us permission just to read your notes for this? just your run-on
You know, Joel,
sentence?
he was probably typing it as he was like running around on some conference show floor, like saying, "Oh, this is amazing," like typing on his phone. You know, so I don't want to make fun of his grammar.
Can we just read it?
We got to wait. See, we don't know. Like, he's a couple seconds behind us. So we'll wait to get permission in chat.
He says read them.
He says read them. Okay. This is what Joel's 90 seconds with Joel topic is. Verbatim. Technology is outgrowing ourselves. Overwhelming. Third world countries are overtaking first world with technology. 4K screen sizes for websites are about 10 megabytes for one screen. Way too massive for sites. That doesn't technically make sense if you read it.
Wow, that was the first time he's actually brought it in under 90 seconds.
I understand what Joel was trying to say, though, and we are going to give him his due to talk about it. And I promise main topics are going to become more of a thing. I think what we're probably going to do is we're just going to add all the news items in, and then we're going to like vote if we have to and cut them down to like 5 really good items because there's just so much I want to talk about, and we can't talk about everything.
Let's start with the topic next week.
Okay.
And then you can't use your line. You can't use your usual line then.
That's true. We start this podcast like we do every week with the main topic. That's what we'll do. So, yeah, we can try that. And next week, the podcast is also going to be at 9 p.m. on a Wednesday if you like watching it live. It's my fault, everybody. I'm sorry. I'm traveling the next 2 weekends. I'm traveling to where
snowflake.
These fine fellows are for this coming weekend for big Halloween party. And then the next weekend, I will be in New York City for Engadget Expand.
And we're going to burn things at my house.
And we're going to burn things. So if anyone's going to Engadget Expand, make sure you hit me up on Twitter. But that's probably not going to happen. I'm just throwing it out there. It's in New York City. I'm super excited. I've never been, but that is why the podcast is also on Wednesday next week. And then it'll be back to its normal schedule. But thank you everyone for tuning in. casualshenanigans@gmail.com is where you can send mail, hate mail, fan art. Please no nudity. You can tweet at Casual Shenanigans,
Why would you say that?
at Germ Gaming, at Evil
You
Viking.
just said that to the internet.
I said fan art. I felt like I ought to follow it up. If you Google art with like the name of anything you like, it's called Rule 34. You're familiar with Rule 34, right?
What?
Okay, are you familiar with this rule on the internet? Anytime you say don't, you're giving permission to?
That's
Jeremiah,
probably true.
Forget Rule 34. Have you heard of the Sonic rule?
The Sonic rule?
The Sonic rule. All right, everyone, right now, open up a Google tab, put in your name, like Dave, and then the Hedgehog, or Jeremiah the Hedgehog. The amount of weird Sonic fan art.
What? You're right. What is? Why is that?
These look like Google images. Wait, it's a My Little Pony crossover hedgehog.
Oh, that's terrible. Yep, yeah, anime, cool high school anime Sonic. This is just with my name. What on earth?
This is like DeviantArt just exploded
I've
onto
never
Google.
heard of this before, but that's stupid.
Yeah, it's the hedgehog rule. You can search for any name, the hedgehog.
All right.
This is a one-time thing only. Thanks, Dave.
So anyway, thanks for contributing that to the podcast. And with that, we are going to wind it down. Thank you everyone for coming out. Thank you everyone for listening. Thank you for rating us on iTunes. Thank you for supporting us on Patreon. I'm done sucking up to you now. With that, we will see you all next week. Anyone else have anything to add? No? Good. All right. With that, stay casual.